think we're officially live.
Okay, we're live. Hey, everybody. I'm here with my friend, Russell Brunson. How are you, Russell?
Awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I'm so excited that you are making the time to talk to me right now, and I'm excited for you guys because we're going to share some really, really cool stuff from Russell's latest book, Expert Secrets. And well, why don't we start by telling those who may live under a rock and don't know yet what it is. Tell us about the book. Tell us real briefly about the book, and then we can dive into something really cool.
Yeah. So, well, first off, and because you were one of our first promoters of the first books. My first book was .com Secrets, and it launched right after we met because we were on a cruise ship. We got a picture of you with it, and then that book launched right after that. And I swore I would never write another book after that because it was so much work and it was so hard. And then it's been interesting over the last few years since the first book came out. And obviously we launched ClickFunnels, and I've seen people use all the concepts. They're building funnels, they're doing a bunch of good stuff. But what's interesting is that inside of ClickFunnels, we have about 38,000 people that are using it right now actively. And so I have a chance to look down and see who's having tons of success and who's not. And what are all the people having success doing that the other ones aren't? And what's interesting is that all the people who are having success, they were all doing this, they all understood a couple things, which are all kind of what's about this book. They understood how to position themselves as an expert, how to tell a story the right way, how to sell things, how to package what they have in a really cool way that gets people excited to buy. Stuff that you're really good at doing, but most people aren't. And so I finally said, okay, I'm gonna write another book. I'm just gonna show people that, how do you get your message out to the world? How do you share it? How do you do it in a way where even if you're someone like me who's kind of introverted and shy, how do you do it in a way that you can still get your message out, even if you're not used to being that person who's out there? And so that's kind of the journey we started about 18 months ago. And now it's a year and a half later and the book's finally done, and I'm so excited to be sharing it with everybody now. Awesome.
What can people expect, from the very beginning, when somebody picks up the book and they open it? What can they expect?
Well, the first thing, if you've ever read my book, there's a lot of sketches and doodles because I'm a very visual learner. So there's I think it's twice as many sketches in this one as the last one. So, but the biggest thing is, there's been people who've written on this before in the past, how to package your talents and stuff. And it's not really that. This is about how do you create a movement of people? How do you get people to follow you and listen to you and want to buy from you, not just once, but buy from you over and over again? And how do you do it in a way where you can literally change people's lives and change the world? And so that's what's kind of different and unique in this book versus any other book that's ever been written kind of on the topic.
And I know you've mentioned a couple of the movements that the cultures that you researched. Which one had the most impact on you that you read about a certain movement and you were like, whoa?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. So as I was writing this, I was, like you said, I was starting to study all the different movements, positive and negative. I was studying how do people start cults that get people all excited? How do people start good things? And it was interesting. I remember as I was researching, I was looking at people on one end of the spectrum, like Hitler and the Nazi Party, and the things that they did that were so bad. But obviously, what Hitler was doing worked, right? People were following him. And then you look on the other side of the spectrum, you look at the person who I think is the greatest of us all, which was Christ and Christianity. You look at what he did, and his movement was so amazing. But then you look at he had the same things he was doing, and then you look at politics and look at who are the people that I look at here in America, the most recent political elections, which it was a dirty, horrible fight, but the people that won, the person that won, followed these same principles. And 4 years ago, the people that won, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, all mass movements, including business and religion and politics, and all of them had the same pattern, the same things. And so as I started realizing that, I remember the night I realized I was studying them all, I was taking notes and all these things. All of a sudden I was wait a minute. I was oh my gosh, all of them have this thing and this thing. And I realized that all of the movements from the beginning of time till now all have three things. And that's what the whole first section of the book's about, is those three things. Number one, in fact, I can show you the doodle. Here's the doodle to make it real. So they all have those three things. They all have a charismatic leader, they all have a cause or a culture, and then they all have a new opportunity. And so as soon as I realized that, and I was okay, well, what are those things am I doing in my business? And I was well, I'm okay here, but I'm not doing this or this. I'm well, how do I do that? And so I try things, and we tested things, and the things that work, I then share with my inner circle members, and they would try them in a whole bunch of different businesses and industries. And if it worked there as well, then I share them in the book. And so this book is all about how you can, as soon as you're aware of that pattern and what all these mass movements did, how can you take that now and how can you amplify it for yourself? And anyway, it's really cool. So as far as my favorite, there's so many cool ones that I had a chance to learn from. I mean, it was fun seeing how Steve Jobs built Apple. It was really interesting. How did Elon Musk build Tesla? How does, anyway, there's so many cool ones that are out there to watch. I'm not sure my favorite one is, but it's fun when you realize what it is, how easy it becomes now that you can actually go in there and affect it.
I sure hope. What would you say your favorite chapter?
Oh wait, the mic broke up a little bit. What did you say?
What's your favorite chapter in the book?
My favorite chapter. So many fun ones. I would say probably the one I'm most excited about. I haven't shared this in any other interview yet either, so it's kind of fun. My favorite one is probably secret number. I always call them secret set chapters, but secret number 8, which is called the Epiphany Bridge script. And this is like, if I can get that on the camera there. Yeah. This right here is the script of how I tell my stories. So if you ever followed me before, listen to me. I tell like 100 stories every hour. Like I'm always telling stories. And at first I was telling stories. I didn't really know why I was just telling stories. And then a while later I met a guy. His name is Michael Hagan. He is he's a screenwriter consultant in Hollywood. So what he does is he comes in and he takes people to have movies and he helps them rewrite their screenplays to fit a certain script. And he told me he wrote a book and did a training called The Hero's Two Journeys. And he said if you look at every single movie that's ever been successful, for the most part, throughout time, they all have almost the exact same storyline. And so he showed it to me. He called it The Hero's Two Journeys. He showed me the whole thing. In fact, Secret 7, I map out what he taught me. And I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. I was like, how can someone like me use that to sell my stuff? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, oh, crap. Like, it was so good, but I don't know how to actually use it now. And so I spent the next 4 or 5 years like trying to like looking at his framework, looking at how I tell stories and like mushing them together. And like some things didn't work, but other things did. And finally, after 4 or 5 years, like I figured out a pattern and I was like, okay. And I started using it over and over again. And I started training with some of my inner circle and they started using it. And it became this. And so like this is the sketch that walks you through it. It takes you through the hero's two journeys in a very simple story that you can tell. I can tell a story in 2 minutes or I can tell it in 2 hours like you would in a movie, but you get the same profound impact. And so these are the doodles. And then here on page 115, you guys will see when you get a copy of the book, it has like the questions you ask. And so you just ask the question, you answer it, and it takes you through this script and it helps you tell the story the right way. And it's like probably the most useful thing I think in the whole book.
Telling your story. So what are the, like, just to give people like a little sneak peek, what are the main elements that the story should contain?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So the first thing here is on the back, like every good story starts, make sure I have this on the camera, starts with the backstory, right? You think about good movies, they always start like the character in a spot where you like give a chance to build rapport and actually care about the character, right? So if I ever tell stories, I'm always like, now let me take you back. So when I first got started, I always go back to my backstory initially. So you tell the backstory first. So question number 1 is the backstory. What's your backstory that gives us a vested interest in your journey? So then I tell that, here's the backstory. Then number 2, it's like, well, what were your desires? Like, what was it you wanted to get and wanted to achieve? And so there's 2 types of desires. There's your external desire, which is like, I want to go get money or lose weight or whatever, like the external thing is that's tangible, right? Every movie has that. Every movie, you know that in the movie Cars, Lightning McQueen, he wanted to win the Piston Cup. That's what his external desire was, right? In every movie you could think through, there's always an external desire. But then the second one is, what are your internal desires? An internal desire, this is like the stuff that that you really want. Like, why do you want to lose weight? It's not something you want to lose weight. It's because of something else. Like your internal desire is like, you want more connection. You want love with a family member or your spouse or your kids or something. Like there's internal desires that we really have. And so in the story, if you tell the internal desires, what's interesting is that most people, most experts only talk about the external desires. I wanted to get rich. I wanted to lose weight. And they position it that way because they think that gives them power. But when you share your internal desires, like the real reason though is like, I wanted to connect better with my wife, or I wanted to, you share the internal desires. That's the real reason why your audience wants change as well. So when you share the internal desires, they connect with you instantly. They have rapport because they're like, that's how I feel. Like no one ever talks about that. No one's willing to open up and share that piece of it. But when you do, like they connect with you and they want to come on the rest of the journey. And so that's the first part. And then from there you go into like the wall you hit and then the journey you go on and what you figure out and you discover. And then at the end of it, you achieve your external desire, but then more importantly, you achieve your internal desire. And that's kind of the process. And anyway, these questions walk you through it. But can't wait for you guys all to get it. You're gonna love that part.
Yeah, let's not get out of that. I remember we were documenting it on Snapchat. And I think I remember when you deleted the. Why don't you a little bit about that? Like, what do you think was wrong with that book that you fixed?
Yeah, so that was last summer. I finished the first draft. I had 240 pages written. I was on a family vacation. I played with my kids all day. I put them to bed. I went in and I started trying to do it with some editing. And I was editing. I was just like, oh, like I feel like I remember feeling like this book is good. But I'm like, I don't want to write a good book. Like no one changes their life because of a good book. Like I want to write a great book. And so I was kind of like thinking through it, and also I was like, I don't like this. I want to delete it. I'm like, I can't delete it. I spent 8 months writing this. I was like, oh, but I have to if I really want this to be good. And so I was like, I have to do this in a public way. Otherwise, like I might sneak back and just do it. So yeah, I opened up Snapchat and I was like, all right, guys, check this out. And I highlighted all 240 pages and I deleted it. And I was like, oh, I just deleted it. And then like I saved it again. So like that way it was gone. Like I couldn't like recover it. And I was like, okay, I guess I have round 2 to write this book again. And I'm so grateful I did because it gave me a chance to really, the second time around, to really figure out the right foundation. Like understanding the mass movements and how they work was not in the first book. When I understood that, it became the framework for all the rest of the pieces and why those things matter. Because the first was just kind of like, you can do this and you can do this. And like they were good, but it wasn't like, there was no good solid framework. And so you have the framework, you understand charismatic leader, future-based cause, and a new opportunity. You understand that. Now everything else is based off of that. How you communicate with the audience is based on that. How you tell your stories, how you set up with your products you're selling, where you're trying to take people to is based on that. Like everything else fits on that foundation. As soon as we identified that, then the book became like colorful. At least in my mind, it was like, okay, this is the right message that people need. So, yeah.
Well, it takes a lot of courage to do that, man.
And fear.
I don't know if I could do that. That's amazing. What would you tell the people who? Because I know a lot of people don't consider themselves experts. So they're like, okay, but I'm not an expert in anything. Is this book going to help me? You know, what would you tell those people?
Yeah. So it's interesting. In fact, most people I work with about this, like that's their biggest fear is like, first off, I'm not an expert at anything, or I'm introverted. Like I don't want to be that person on stage. Like that's not them. And what's interesting is you typically like whatever it is that you're best at, like you're really good at, like everyone's good at something, right? God's given us all gifts to be able to do stuff. And so you have a gift, you're good at something, but because you're good at it, for you, it's second nature. And you're like, it's funny. Someone the other day told me they were a hairstylist. Like all I know how to do is hair. And I was smiling because one of our success stories, Danielle White, who went through this book and through a lot of our stuff, she's a hairstylist and all she does is hair. But right now she charges people like $3,500 to cut their hair. People fly from all around the country to fly to her because she just does hair. No, she's positioned herself as an expert, and that's why they do it. And it's like understanding that like the thing that you're the best at seems second nature to you. And you're like, it's not that big of a deal. But that thing is what people are looking for. They're looking for that thing that you're already intuitively good at, the thing you're studying and you're learning and you're excited about. And so that's the biggest thing is like, and the book will help you to see that and hopefully understand that. And for those of you guys who are really like, I've got nothing and you're really nervous, we've seen a lot of people in our community who take these concepts and they find someone who they believe is more of an expert and they work with that person and they apply these principles to their business and let them be kind of the expert face of it. And they come through and do all the marketing and understand these principles will help you to help them as well. So it kind of depends on which direction makes the most sense for you. But I honestly feel that every single one of us out there has a gift. We've got something that is inside of us that if we were willing to share it, we could change people's lives.
Absolutely. There's some sirens out here. I don't know if you heard that. Oh man. All right. So what besides the story, the secret number 8, what would be the next chapter that you're most excited about for people to read?
Oh man. Let's see. Okay. Yes, actually this is good. So I told you about the 3 things every mass movement has: charismatic leader, future-based cause or culture. And then number 3 is the new opportunity. This is like probably the least understood, but the most important thing. So it's secret 3 right here.
Yeah.
And I love this one because most people who struggle selling, they create something really good and they sell like what we call improvement offers. They want to help you to improve in something. But the problem is that like improvement means like if I'm going to admit that I need to improve, it means I have to admit also that I'm not very good. So it takes like that's hard to do as a human, right? Number 2 is that most people most people have desires. They want something better, but they're not ambitious. And improvement, you have to be ambitious to want to improve. And so if you're trying to sell improvement, like 98% of the people in the world are not ambitious. And so 98% of the people in the world automatically not buy your thing because they don't have ambitions to try to improve on something. Okay, there's a bunch of other reasons why. Whereas if you structure what you sell as a new opportunity, that honestly is the key. Because no longer is it like, I'm gonna help you become better in this thing. It's saying, well, that thing you're in is not very good. Like for example, I always tell people like, all of your customers right now, they have a result they want, right? And you're not the first person they're coming to. Like they've tried to lose weight a bunch of other ways. They tried to make money. They tried to, whatever your thing is, they tried to do it in the past. And they're in some vehicle right now trying to get that result, right? If they want trying to make money, they might be in a vehicle of a job and they're trying to get money, trying to make money through a job or through school. Or maybe they're in a different company, whatever it might be. If you're in weight loss, maybe they're in like the Atkins diet or there's some vehicle to try to get that result over here, right? And so if I come to them and say, I'm going to help improve that vehicle, you're already in the Atkins diet, but instead you should also do these other things to make it better. Like that doesn't get you inspired. You're like, I hate this vehicle. It's not working. Or if someone's in school and you're like, yeah, you're in school. Somebody doing a good job. What you should do, you should study harder. I can help you study better. Like, no one wants to study harder. Like that's improvement, right? But if I come to you and like, look, that vehicle that you're in right now, it sucks. It's not a good thing. You should get out of it and come over here to this new vehicle and try this. And then you bring them this new opportunity. When they agree to that and become in this new opportunity, suddenly it's like, wow, like everything changes for them. They don't have all the memories of all the past failures to the last one that you're fighting against. They're not trying to figure out how to be ambitious. You're selling them towards the desire of a new thing. And when you understand that, like that's the key. Every mass movement has been based on that. Steve Jobs didn't come to all of us and say, look guys, you've got CD players. I'm going to show you how to do a CD player that plays 10 CDs at once. He was like, no, throw your CD player out. There's this new thing called, and he pulls out his pocket, the iPod, and people go crazy, and Apple becomes who they are today. And so all mass movements are built on that, on a new opportunity. So those are so much fun stuff in here, but that's one of my favorites as well.
I know. I love that analogy. I remember we used 5 CDs at the same time. It was such a mess. Like
nightmare.
Anyway, to wrap it up, what would be like final words, final recommendation, final thoughts you want to share with our audience here?
I guess my final thoughts. First off, thank you for allowing me to be here with your audience. I really appreciate that, and glad we finally got it connected. We've been trying for the last week or so, so glad it finally worked out. And my final thoughts for everyone listening is, even if you don't feel like you're an expert yet, you're nervous, but you know that you've got something inside you to change someone's life, get the book. And I promise you, it's free right now. I pre-bought a whole bunch of copies. You have to cover shipping and handling, but I'll ship it anywhere in the world. You just got to cover the shipping and handling. But I've already pre-bought the books. This book, first off, I promise you it'll change your life. But more importantly, is it'll give you the ability to change other people's lives. And that's the key. That's why this is so powerful and so important, because it's going to help you get your message out there and have a huge impact on the world that I know you can have, as long as you have the tools. And these will give you the tools you need to be successful. So that's kind of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Russell. You have definitely changed my life in a way, so really appreciate you. And thank you so much for your time. And I'm really excited to get my copy of the book already. And for all of you guys, there's a link in this video somewhere. Go ahead, go to that link, grab your free book. By the way, is it going to be, when does it expire? Like, can people get it for free until a certain day? Yeah,
that's a good question. Right now, I think we're almost 20,000 copies sold. We have a warehouse with copies, and I don't know how many they have left, but when they're sold out, I'm not sure what we're going to do. We may start selling it like a normal book again at that point. So it kind of depends on when. But yeah, for right now, it's definitely open, but I don't know how long it'll be a free offer like this.
Yeah, guys, so don't wait. Go ahead, get it. You just pay the shipping. It's a no-brainer, and you're going to absolutely love it. It'll change your life and the lives of the people that you will impact. So thank you so much, Russell. See you very soon.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.